Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here taping at the Hollywood Museum in the historic Max Factor building. Award-winning actor, singer, comedian, and impressionist Perry Lambert has appeared in more than 50 theatrical productions, including Guys and Dolls, Sweet Charity, Kiss Me Kate, Pearly too, that was a good one, and the original Forbidden Broadway. So maybe you'll tell us about that. He's toured with Shirley Jones and Patrick Cassidy, and he's directing and producing a review of songs by Sammy Cahn. He's going to tell us all about the new roles in Loopholes. But first, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Iron Mountain, Michigan.
Oh, Michigan.
Hotbed of lust.
And was that, did they have a lot of theatrical things going on
Yes,
there?
actually, after you would jump off the ski jump, then they would go directly to the theater and watch shows.
Did you actually go to school there too?
I was born there, and then our family moved to the wonderful city of Canton, Ohio.
Oh, Midwestern boy.
Yeah. And then we moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then we had a choice of Biddeford, Maine, or Los Angeles. Biddeford, Maine, or Los Angeles.
What I would take
Angeles.
Los Angeles. Why were you moving so much?
Because my dad's a Greek Orthodox priest.
You're kidding.
No.
You made it up, and I was going to fall for that. I love Greek Orthodox priests.
Yeah, well, so do I.
Armenian priests.
Yeah. So
same thing.
Yeah. So my dad's a Greek Orthodox priest. You know, it was hard.
And he changed his name.
Actually, the family's name was Venutzis when they came over. They couldn't pronounce the name. They went Lambert. So.
Are you really Greek?
Yes.
So I would think Lambert would be Lambros, because we
be,
knew a Lambros.
Yeah, they didn't. They made that up. They just went. All right, now you're Lambert.
Okay.
So they went. Great to be here. We're just happy to be here. Great. Kiss
Whatever you tell me, right? Whatever
exactly.
name it is, just put me. Did you take acting lessons?
When I was a child, when I started acting when I was in junior high, I was about 13 years old, and we had Miss Cameron. She was a lovely teacher, but she was on her. I think being a 13-year-old and having a room full of kids who were full of adrenaline, I think we drove her early to her retirement.
So you never had her again?
No, Miss Cameron had. She was drinking, and we didn't.
She was drinking. You let her to drink. That
Yeah.
wasn't when you were doing the New Kids show.
No, the New Kids show was when I was doing the Young Americans.
And what was that?
Yeah, I'm a Young American. Yeah.
Were you a teenager too? Then?
I was a teenager. I was in high school still, and we would do the Young Americans and the New Kids show.
Oh, and that's when you got your Bank of America
I got that when I
award?
graduated high school. Yeah,
Oh.
my Bank America award.
That was your award, and also the Young Drama Award.
Yes,
Oh,
I got
low.
those too. Yeah.
And why were you so good?
Well, Joan,
Yes, let's
being
hear it.
Greek.
I know all about that. That's what it is.
yeah,
it's the dramatic background.
Well, not only that, when I was a child growing up, and my dad was a priest, and
This is true.
This is
This
true.
is true. I'm
and
so sorry.
and I would see my dad, and he's wearing his vestments, but I'm 3-4 years old. So my parents caught me up at the altar one day, doing exactly what my dad was doing, holding the book, but it was upside down, and I'm going like this, and doing it, and sensing the audience, and pretending, and I was my dad. So.
I love that. So sweet.
I was attracted to that. I played Joseph in the little kids show, so
Christmas drama.
the Christmas drama at church. So
What church were you at here?
when my dad moved out here with the family, we were at church in Van Nuys,
Oh.
and this is getting into. He was with the Antiochian Archdiocese, and
Okay.
then he went over to the Greek Orthodox.
Okay, got
so he was
it.
at St. Sophia's.
Yes,
at the
of
cathedral.
course. Okay, that's
So,
where it is. It's
right,
beautiful.
on
We
Pico
love
in
it.
Normandy.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so did you start? we have everything we need
Are
to
we-
know
are
about
we up
you,
to
right?
date now? Okay,
yeah, we're
good.
up to date. So did you start on stage? Where did you start?
My first show that
Besides the altar.
Besides the altar, which was big laughs there, by the way, huge.
Big
And-
laughs?
Yeah, and at the end you get to eat something. So.
Oh my gosh! I hope you don't use this in any of your stand-ups.
It's communion, so whatever.
I know.
Time to transubstantiate. So the first show I ever did on stage was in high school, and that was black comedy.
Oh.
And I got to fall through a trap door at the end of the show.
But then you did so much TV, lots of TV. You've done a lot of musicals.
A lot of
How did
musicals.
you get into all these? I mean, 50 productions? I thought that was a mistake.
No.
I didn't think there were 50 musicals written.
Well, it's all types of productions, all
I
types
see.
of shows, straight plays, comedies.
Oh, I see.
And I've been doing this for a long time.
But didn't have time for film? Have you done film?
I've done some film, but I've been mostly doing my living and profession doing stage work.
And that's
and-
what you...
And I've been doing my act for cruise lines. And
I was going to ask you about that. What do you do on the cruise lines? Because you're major on cruise lines.
Well, what I do is I do a variety show where I sing, I do comedy, I do impressions. It's like a variety show. If you don't like one thing I'm doing right now,
Don't
wait a minute
leave.
later, I'll be doing something different.
Right.
So that's the type of
So
show
you
I do.
keep the audience there.
Yeah, I keep it moving, and I do tributes to motion pictures and film and
Oh,
TV
I see.
stars. And
So you write the material.
I write the material.
And then do you take a group with you, or are they on the
No,
ship? Or?
it's just me, and then I use the band that's on
That's
the
on
ship,
ship?
and I rehearse them, and I also have tracks that I intersperse into it, and sound effects and all that.
What cruises? Where
I've
do
been
you
on
go?
Holland America, and
So like big ships.
big ships, yeah.
And all over?
I've been as far as Dubai.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're the headliner on the cruise. If you're going to Dubai,
I've been
you're
to
there
Dubai,
a long time. Does your material get old, or do you keep rewriting
Well,
it?
you know, you have to think that passengers keep rotating on the ship.
Right, right.
And I was a hit in Dubai, because when you get off the ship, the people who are there, they say, please, Dubai.
That's why you were such a hit.
That's right. So,
Was it a lot to buy there?
it was actually, I got to go up into the Burj Tower.
Did you? The
Yeah, the
top?
big giant spire. And
Burj,
The
yeah.
Burj.
The
yeah.
Burj.
Burj Tower.
hanging.
Huge. It's
And I hear it's just all street
Well-
after street of shops in
well,
that
it looks
city.
like Las Vegas without the prostitutes and the
very clean.
very clean. And but the thing is, it's like this giant, you know, mecca of towers and buildings and pools and everything, right in the middle of sand.
I know.
And
Is it just
it's
amazing?
amazing.
It is
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm going. And why is this here? I mean, it's great, but I'm going, why is this here? But
And why is it there?
I have no
because there's
idea.
so much oil. That's why it's
That's-
there. That's why.
yes.
Okay, talking about oil, they don't pay taxes. So they don't have to deal with the IRS
No.
like you do in your new
show
musical.
Loopholes the musical.
Okay, tell us
A
about
pain
that.
in the IRS.
Okay, is that what it's called?
Loopholes, a pain in the IRS.
Okay,
Yeah.
so who's in that play?
Oh, we've got Karen Richmond. I hear she's really terrific.
She's great.
I don't know. Maybe she's going to be on your show. I'm not
She
sure.
can sing and dance,
And she
right?
can sing and dance. And then we have my friend Julie Cardia and Brielle Bettino. And
Oh, you have a big cast?
it's about 10 people in
Wow,
our show.
wow.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
The story is about Stan Rich and his 15-year battle with the IRS.
So that's a real story.
That is a real story.
Just like your father is a priest.
Just like my dad is a Greek Orthodox priest.
Okay.
Right.
So that's a real story. So what does Stan do? I know what your father does.
Stan
what does Stan do?
Stan was a CPA at a time, I believe, and he made some investments or whatever, and they canceled some things out, and they said he owed money, and it went on and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and so by the time this came to the end, he thought, gee, wouldn't this be a great idea if I could teach people how to deal with the IRS and make it funny, because you know, the old Billy Wilder line, if you're going to tell people the truth, make it funny or they'll kill you.
Yeah, or they'll
So,
kill you, right?
yeah, so he made this show really funny, and we've had some songs that are written with special lyrics and new original pieces of songs that have been made.
And you sing,
And
obviously.
I sing and I dance.
What's your role?
My role is Harry Grimm. I'm
Harry
Izzy
Grimm.
Rich's CPA.
Is he rich? Is he rich?
Is he
and
rich? Yeah.
Harry Grimm and Marcia Mello.
Dr. Marcia Mello. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I don't want to give away the story, but there is a little romance later on in the show, and I don't know if those two get together, but we'll see. You'll have to come
You
and see
mean
the
Marcia
show.
Mello?
And Izzy Rich.
And is he rich?
Yeah, but we don't know that yet.
Oh, okay. Who's directing?
Kivskov is directing the show.
And did you interview anyone in the IRS so that you would be
Have
informed?
I interviewed the IRS? Actually, no. I want to stay away from the IRS as much as possible.
So you didn't like go see what they were doing or
No,
how they were doing?
I don't want to put myself on the radar yet.
Just take
What's
Stan-
your name, son?
Yeah, you can just take Stan Rich's word.
Word
right?
at it, exactly.
Well, we want to talk about Come Fly With Me, that review. Sammy Kahn, the great Sammy Kahn.
Yes, my friend Jerry Ranger and I. Jerry Ranger is a musician and arranger and conductor and composer, and he worked for all the major cruise lines at one point.
Oh, he did.
And so he put together a show with his very good friend Peter Matz from the Carol Burnett Show. And they put together a Sammy Kahn review. Well, nothing came of it, but they recorded all the music with the 17-piece orchestra.
Wow.
So I said, well, do you have that master tape? And he says, yeah, I think I do. And he found it in his garage behind some boxes. So I took that and I dropped it to digital and cleaned it up. And so I've created a show, a 4-person show called Come Fly With Me, the Sammy Kahn Songbook.
Oh, 4 people?
4 people in the show.
So will it be on in a dinner theater or on stage or what?
We're shopping it around right now to venues, including casinos and theaters.
Different things like that?
And we've got some great feedback right now, and we're going to actually be down in CV Rep in Rancho Mirage later this year. We've been booked down there.
Are you singing in it?
I'm singing and dancing, and there's...
Do you play an instrument?
I did.
I did.
It was the accordion.
Oh, I love the accordion.
And, well, I'm glad you do.
I do.
A lot of people don't like that.
But you know what? People are using it now.
I know. I think the accordion's a great instrument.
I know. I've been
but
seeing
it's
it
got
more.
such a bad reputation. I don't know why. You know, everybody thinks Lawrence Welk, and that's fine.
It's
but you
true.
Know, but you know, I think of Art Van Dam. Do you know who Art Van Dam is?
Yes, of course. Did he play the accordion?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I thought he just played the piano.
No, he was very famous for playing the accordion, and I jazz classics off those albums. So.
Oh, I think I'm so glad you said that because I think you should put that back in your show.
All right, I got to figure out which number we can put that on.
Now, before we leave, we need a couple of impressions because that's part of your forte, right?
Well, Joan, it's really great to be back here. It's Johnny Carson. It's a great show. You got a great, wonderful show here. I don't know if you knew this, but I was Greek. My family came from Greece, but we came to Greece from Nebraska, and actually we had to change our last name. It used to be Carsonopoulos, but we had to shorten it up because we couldn't get it in the back of the license plate.
And so Carson moved to Malibu, right?
That's right. It's wild stuff. I don't know if you knew that. It's crazy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you,
And I'm
Joan.
glad you were with us, and thank you for watching this part of the show. Welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here taping at the Hollywood Museum, and our guest is Arts Administrator Terry Knowles, who was raised in the Midwest and graduated from the University of Kansas with a Bachelor of Music in Voice. She sang with the Dale Worland Singers in St. Paul before moving into the administration. 15 years she was president of the company of the LA Master
Of the
Chorale.
LA Master Chorale, that's
and
right.
so here you were, a singer, a bachelor's in music, And you go into arts administration. What happened?
I wasn't a good enough singer.
No, you must have been good because it wasn't that your major?
That was my major, and it was a few years after college that I started to work in arts administration.
But you sang. Where did you sing all around?
I did. Dale Worland Singers was a professional choral group in St. Paul. I did a lot of solo work, church work, that sort of thing, and loved doing it.
Was it a big group?
It was, oh no, only 32 singers actually.
Oh, it was small.
So quite small, yes.
And it was mixed?
It was mixed, and they recorded a lot, but they don't exist anymore, sadly.
Oh.
But it was great while it was around.
Why do you think that happens? Because they were so prominent, and they were giving awards and commissioning things.
They were. Dale decided that he couldn't achieve his ultimate dream of employing his singers full time, and he wanted to do other things, so they very thoughtfully abandoned the group, but over time and very gracefully.
But what do you think about that? You're in arts administration. Can you hire these singers to be full-time employees? I mean, that's the only way to look at it.
There's only one group I know about in the country that does that, and it's Chanticleer in San Francisco. 12 men. And
it's only 12, though.
Yes, right. Otherwise, it's a very expensive proposition, as you can imagine.
So what do the 12 men do?
Their first job is for Chanticleer. They rehearse a lot, they perform, they tour, they record.
I see.
They do other things as well, but their first obligation is to Chanticleer.
So that's it. So, and you were a pianist as well?
I was a pianist, yes.
Well, were you a collaborative artist? Did you work with singers?
I did work with singers, and I think that I was a better singer than a pianist, but I was a good accompanist because I understood singing.
I think that makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does make a difference.
Did you take a lot of piano lessons from the beginning?
I took a lot of piano lessons from age 5, like practically everybody else.
Oh, you did?
And loved it. But
did you think of being a soloist?
Pianist? No, never. I was hopeful that I would be a famous opera singer.
Oh, you
but
did?
Didn't work out. That's okay.
Did you study a lot of opera?
You know, the young singers are sort of pushed into studying opera, I think a little too early for the voice. But I loved it nonetheless, but ultimately not good enough.
But you sang alto.
Yes.
So what would you be, a mezzo?
Mezzo,
Oh,
yes, mezzo, right.
So your love of choral music and being involved in it, you were on the American Board of Directors in 1990 to 1996?
The Chorus America Board of Directors, yes. It's where I met my husband, actually.
Is that right?
He was
in 1990?
Yes, he was on the board when I got there.
And what was he doing?
He was a lawyer, still is a lawyer.
Oh, he wasn't a singer.
No.
He wasn't representing a
No,
group.
no.
Or maybe he was representing a group.
He was on the board of the LA Master Chorale at the time. So to some extent, I suppose it's fair to say he was representing our organization. But he was had a full law practice.
But so he was on the board of this
Of the Master
American.
Chorale.
Oh,
He was
not
also
on-
on the he was
Yeah.
on the Chorus America board
I see.
and the Master Chorale board at the same time.
And so with the American board, that meant he was representing
The Master
Chorale? I see. And you
Right.
were as well?
No, I was living in the Twin Cities at the time.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Let's get this
I
straight.
know, it's confusing.
Oh, you were living in the Twin Cities.
So
well, our show used to go there.
Oh, yes?
Yes, it did.
I love the Twin Cities. So I was not representing any particular organization at the time, which is true of any number of board members.
see.
But that's how we met each other.
I see. So tell us, what is choral music? What's a chorale?
A chorale is a gathering of anywhere from roughly 30 to 100 or 120 singers, 4 parts basically, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, who perform together just some of the greatest music ever written.
And where do they get the music? Is it all old music?
No, oh no. Much of it is new. In fact, the Master Chorale has commissioned a lot of music and is dedicated to doing that going forward without any hesitation. But choral music has existed since, it's considered actually the first art, singing. And people sang before they did anything else musically.
And did they have accompaniment then?
They probably did.
Maybe, yeah.
They probably did. Percussion, maybe.
One thing, though, we talked about Chanticleer, and you
Yes.
said it was about a dozen people.
Yes.
But when we're talking about a choral group,
Yes.
it's 30 up.
Yes.
So they're not considered a...
You know, it's semantics to some degree.
wondering,
I
yeah.
think that they would call themselves a vocal ensemble
Oh, I
as a
see.
smaller group.
I
But when
see.
you get into a more critical mass of 30 or so and up, it becomes a choir or
But
a
it needs
chorus.
to be that name when it's more people like
Yes,
that, right?
that's right,
And
that's right.
you think of people singing. You think of a lot. How many
Yes.
are in the Master Chorale?
We can be as many, well, there are 82 primary members, but we go up to about 110 if the repertoire demands it, and as few as 18.
Oh, you
Very
do.
flexible,
You do.
yes.
Very, very. So, when did this turning point come from singing, playing piano, to organizing? Because that's what you do, right?
Yes, that
You're
is
a
what I
big
do.
organizer.
I'm a big organizer.
From creative to organizing, what's...
You know, I love it, and I think that there's a creative aspect to the organizing as well. And I'm an audience member all over Los Angeles. I mean, I consume
you do?
a lot of concerts. We consume a lot of music, my husband and I. I don't really miss singing, although once in a while, if I go to a rehearsal and I'm sitting in the back and it's a big piece with a lot of people and they won't notice me singing, I'll sing along.
I was going to say, when you're in the audience, are you the person next to me who's humming
No,
what's
no,
going
no,
on?
not in a concert performance, but if I observe a rehearsal, I might just be caught singing along.
So when was this turning point? When did you decide to go into arts organizations, organizing in the arts, and what was the first job?
I started a little bit in the late 80s. I was working at a bank, of all things, and they wanted to donate a portion of the foundation's money to small arts organizations, and I was asked to do that.
Oh, so you...
And I loved doing that because just those small grants made such a difference to those small arts organizations.
That's very interesting.
So I
'cause
I wasn't running anything, but I was helping.
But you were a musician, so they called on you because they thought you would know where to give it
And
how to
hopefully
give
that
it.
I would be smart about giving away the money. You know, I think you're always a musician. You may not be singing or playing so much, but really, once a musician, always a musician.
And also, that's the way you help the people that you're with, right?
Yes,
because you have
right.
the empathy and you have
Yes.
the knowledge of what's
Yes,
going on.
yes.
So, from the bank, where did you go?
From the bank, I worked a little bit at the United Way of Minneapolis.
Oh, and you raised a lot of
Raised
money.
a lot of money there. And then I met my husband and I moved here.
Oh, and when you got here, what
I-
were you going to do?
When I got here, I knew two people, my husband and his daughter. So I started to look, and I ended up, my first job here was at Los Angeles Opera, at the Music Center, actually.
It must have just started, was it, with...
It had been around about 15 years
Oh, it
by
had
then.
been.
No, I'm
No,
sorry,
yeah.
more like 6 or 7
it-
years.
yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
my
yeah.
mistake. But I did fundraising for them,
Oh, you did?
and I worked at KUSC Radio,
Which
doing
is great. So
fundraising,
all music,
Yeah.
but all on the other side, the
Yeah.
side that the creatives don't like to do, raising money.
Well, few people like to raise money.
I
It's
know,
true.
I
It's
know.
true.
And then when did you meet Paul Salamunovich?
Salamunovich.
Salamunovich.
You know what? I actually met Paul when I was in college.
Oh.
I met him in 1968.
And he was the head of the Master Chorale at that
He
time,
was
right?
he was involved, but not the music director at the
Oh,
time.
he wasn't.
But he was doing a clinic at the University of Kansas,
Mm.
and he needed a pianist, and I was assigned to him, and he looked like Sean Connery in those days.
He was so great, wasn't he?
And so I knew Paul a long time, and so it was ironic that I should be engaged to run the Master Chorale, and my first year was his last as music director.
So you actually knew each other.
We
you
did.
knew each other before.
We did.
So once you got there, what did you start doing?
Well, there was a new music director hired 2 days after I was hired, and that's Grant Gershon.
Oh, is that when Grant came in?
Yes.
And he's been there ever since, right?
We've been on this journey together for 14 years.
But it's amazing that you got along. Because you were hired. No, but it's
know.
really something, because you come on with Paul, whom you know,
Yeah.
and he leaves, and
Yeah.
then a new person comes on.
I think every day, and I mean this, that we were lucky that we found each
Grant
other.
is fabulous.
He is fabulous.
He's
Thank
so
you.
smart.
He's wonderful. And he's our artistic director for 5 more years after this
Oh,
year.
aren't we lucky?
which is
Because he
great.
conducts the Philharmonic sometimes. He
Sometimes.
conducts the opera sometimes.
He does?
I know wherever you look in the pit, you see Grant Gershon.
So we tease wondering where's Center Theater Group, the one last company on the music
He
scene.
hasn't been there?
No, he hasn't been there yet.
But there's musicals going on. I'm
Right,
surprised
I
he
know,
hasn't been
I know,
there.
I know.
So what's his job actually then?
Grant's job is, first of all, to select the very best singers for the Master Chorale, and then to program our concerts, and we explore special projects together and special artistic initiatives together and dream about what's possible. He also helps me fundraise. He's very good at that,
Oh, because
actually.
he's really good with people.
Because he's so passionate about the
Right.
art, people really love to hear him talk about it.
And when you put your group together, I want to get quickly on stage, they have a costume. What do they have to wear?
At the moment, the women are all wearing the same gown, and the men are in white tie and tails sometimes. Other times they will wear what we call concert black, which is more casual, but all black, out of their own closets.
But their gowns are all the same, right?
The gowns are the same.
And,
That's right.
and so, and then you've tried to raise the profile a lot. And you have, because people know what Master Chorale is. With a lot, you've gotten awards.
I hope so. We've tried very hard.
And you've commissioned works. I think you commissioned one with your husband?
My husband commissioned for me a piece by Morton Lauridsen called a setting of the O Magnum Mysterium text. It was my Christmas gift in 1994, and the publisher it's the most published piece in their catalog.
Is that right?
And
After he commissioned it?
Well, you know, when you commission music, you don't know what you get until the composer hands you the music. We were lucky, right? And Morton Lauridsen is a phenomenal composer, and this short Christmas motet has been performed, recorded more than any other.
You didn't use that for your sister's wedding?
No, that was
Tell me that. Tell me that story,
You're
because I
good.
love that story.
There is a man in the world named Sir David Wilcox who is now in his 90s, was for years the organist choir master at Canterbury Cathedral.
Oh.
And I commissioned Sir David to write a wedding processional for my sister, which he did, and my husband and I used it as well, and my husband's daughter used it as well.
His daughter used
Yes,
it too? So
yes.
it went 3 different
Yes,
people.
yes.
I think that's such a great
Yes,
story.
thank you.
And is it just beautiful music?
It's a gorgeous sort of setting
it
of a
organ?
hymn tune. Yes, it's a big, loud, wonderful organ. A setting of a hymn tune. It's beautiful. Called Westminster Abbey.
I know one of the things that you do a lot, and we only have a few seconds left, but you do a lot of education and a lot of outreach, and your Master Chorale sings all over the world and brings a lot of notoriety to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
And we thank you for watching. Keep writing to us at jaquinn1@aol.com.